Would you believe that half of all Americans experience something called layoff anxiety? Well, it's probably for a good reason because 40% actually have been fired or laid off in their lifetime. Listen, guys, job security is dead. Those pension plans that everyone seemed to have 50, 60 years ago, almost nobody has pensions anymore. In fact, really the only one who has a defined benefit plan are government workers. In the private sector, it's virtually extinct. We live in a world where one bad quarter can mean layoffs for 10 to 15% of a company's staff. And mergers and acquisitions are so much more common today than they were 50 years ago. You never know when a company is going to come along and buy your company, and now your job, it's gone. Listen, guys, job security is a lie, but so many people are chasing it. They just want a job because it makes them feel good. Today I want to talk to you about having multiple streams of income and why that is really where security lies, financial security, freedom. Freedom comes from not having one job, but having multiple streams of revenue for your household. If that sounds like something you want to know more about, stay tuned. We're going to talk all about it. Most Americans have all their eggs in one basket. And guess what? That is their job. All of their income comes from their job. Maybe you're lucky and both a husband and a wife, for example, have a job, and so at least you have two streams of income so that if one of you loses their job, at least you have the other one. But if you're like most families, having one out of two incomes does not pay all the bills. The reality is that most of us cannot last more than 3 months without a paycheck coming in. So let me ask you something. How secure is your job? How financially free are you if a job loss can ruin everything? You, my friend, if you are in that situation, have all your eggs in one basket. And that's not what you want to do, because what happens when you drop that one basket? Everything is ruined. It's all gone. And you've got to find another basket, find more eggs, and hopefully you can scrape by. Listen, I've been there. I have been laid off one time, and I have been fired one time. I'm like that 40% of all Americans who have lost their job unexpectedly, and I can tell you that it was one of the worst days of my life. As a husband, as a father, as the provider for my family, I was devastated. I felt horrible. And I don't ever want to be in that position again, and I don't want you to be in that position. What I now know, especially after doing what I've been doing for the past 5 years, is that your security isn't how talented, it's not in how talented you are or how long you've been in your employer, at your employer. Your security is having lots of different jobs, lots of different things that you can do to bring money into the household. And the more, the better, especially if they don't require a whole lot of your time. Passive income. We're going to talk a lot about that today in this course. Think about this. If a beaver were to build a dam in the middle of the Mad River and it completely stopped the flow of the Mad River, would the entire Mississippi River go dry? No. But the reality is the Mad River eventually makes its way into the Mississippi River and into the Gulf of Mexico. Why doesn't the Mississippi River run dry if the Mad River does? Because the Mad River is just one of thousands of tributaries and rivers that all kind of empty in to that Mississippi River basin. If you look at this picture, you'll understand what I'm talking about. That's the power of having multiple streams of income into your household. One of those streams, you can turn it off or turn it on, and you still have plenty of income for your household because of all the other streams that you've built. You can lose one. You can afford to lose 2, 3 if you have enough streams of income going into your household. That's what rich people have figured out. And research has shown that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. We hear it all the time. Yes, I admit I can't figure out what the source is, but I do believe it. Because most of the successful, wealthy people I know, they have, at least 7 streams of income into their household. So I think it is sage advice that every one of us should take. I want to hit you with a hard truth, and that is that it doesn't matter who you are, we all only have 24 hours in a day. Time is our most limited resource. And so if we're going to develop all these sources of income, all these jobs that we can do, we need to be very careful about how much each of those jobs takes up our time. The key is in building passive sources of income. Yes, we will use our work, our effort, our time to make some of our money, but some of those streams need to take very little time, because that's the only way that we can build multiple, more than 7, more than 10 streams of income. Let's define what passive income is. The opposite of it is active income. That's what most of you guys have. If you work at McDonald's, you make, let's say, $15 an hour. If you've got a salary job, it's still active income because you're expected to work 40, 50 hours a week in exchange for your salary of $50,000, $75,000, whatever it may be. There is a direct link between your time and the amount of money you make. The more hours you work, the more money you make. That's active income. The opposite of that, of course, is passive income. And that's not to say that passive income doesn't require any time, because it does. Anyone who's ever built an online course or has investments understands that you still put time into that. It's just that there's not a direct correlation between the amount of time you spend and the amount of money you make. You may spend 1,000 hours on the front end and make very little money during that time. But over time, that 1,000 hours goes down to maybe 2 hours a week while your income is going up and up and up and up. Like, the link is just not there between time and money earned. And ideally, you're spending very little time but making quite a bit of money. That's passive income. The money grows without your effort necessarily being there on a one-to-one basis. One more hard truth that I'm going to give you is that you can't just drop everything you're doing today and just build passive sources of income, because they do take time. You still need your job in the beginning, because at least every hour I spend brings money into my household. So building wealth in the beginning requires you to have active income. There's no doubt about it. So how do you get wealthy? There's 3 steps. Number 1, build your active income. And if you can make more, go make more. Step number 2 then is to save money. The way you save money usually is by decreasing your living expenses. Maybe you don't need a fancy car. Maybe you can downgrade. Maybe you can move to a smaller house. Maybe this is just a matter of cutting out Hulu and Netflix and the Disney app and all this stuff. You need to save money while you're working in your job, while you have active income, because all that savings is what you're going to use then to build your passive income sources. So it starts with very heavy on the active income side, and it ends with being very heavy on the passive income side. But please understand, this is a process. It will take time. It will take years. You can't rush this. We are building something substantial, and anything good takes time.